Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot and to another session of the weekly private TA. In these sessions that we do once a week on Thursdays, midday UK time, we go through all the list of coins that people that are currently subscribed to my Patreon as elite members. And you guys voted for tons of coins for today. We got Solana, HBAR, BNB, Pump, ATH, which I never heard before, Ethereum, of course, XRP, SUI, EIGEN, that I've seen it in some videos during this week. People were asking for it together with Bittensor. We're going to cover Ethena and Virtuals. Oh, that's, I think, the full list. We got a few more that I've seen live in some comments in YouTube, Cardano and AAVE, that if we have time, we can also cover it. And obviously, when we start from the first coin, we cover it more. So think about Solana, HBAR, and BNB. It's going to be a bit more dense in terms of information, and that's why it's got 7, 5, and 4 votes from my elite members. And then as we go lower and lower, it's going to be faster. There will be timestamps in the description, so you can go straight into the coin that you want. Today, the video is live, so you are here, right here. I have all my elite members in the chat. So as I'm doing the analysis, feel free to step in, put some questions in the middle. You can interrupt me. I can stop and answer your questions. That's one of the perks as well of being an elite member. If you want to join, there is a link in the description. Make sure that you join as elite. That's the one that gives you this perk. And bear in mind that next Thursday, we're going to have a session that is slightly different. We do every Thursday TA with all the altcoins. And once a month, on the last Thursday of the month, we do PineScript sessions. So I'm going to be coding in PineScript. We already have 2 sessions that you can find publicly. And remember that this video that we are recording now live is going to go tomorrow publicly as an edit video. And that's the one that's going to have all the timestamps and everything, so you can navigate through all the coins if you're not watching this currently live. Perfect. So we're gonna get started with Solana. I got all the coins in here. You can see on the weekly we had a breakout. Remember that I already did an in-depth of Solana video, so I'm just gonna try to focus on what I'm seeing different from the FOMC meeting that we had yesterday, which brought 25 basis points rate cut, and currently traders are hitting this trend line. And actually on Sunday we already managed to slightly break above it. It depends on how you place it, right? So if you want to connect these points or if you want to respect that green one there, it depends. But there is already a price breakout, an RSI that happened earlier, that happened around the range of $200, and the retest that happened at 57 managed to break the 200 level resistance. We have gone beyond the golden pocket, so that means that all this leg has now less likelihood of being just a dead cat bounce. Okay, nothing is guaranteed. It's all about probabilities, but we always have to acknowledge the probabilities. And bear with me because I'm a little bit ill today, so maybe a bit more slow because I didn't sleep very well with this. And also my voice sounds a bit funny, but well, here I am. You see how commit I am, so hit the like for that if you appreciate it. So 252 is the highest close on the weekly that we ever had on Solana. I managed to sell at 270, and now we are approaching again this 252. So the main question is, what's gonna win? This revenge rally that we are seeing, is it gonna actually turn into revenge rally? Is there still a chance that that could happen? Well, it depends on this week, right? If this candle here has a huge responsibility, because it needs to tell us that those two are out of the way now. Otherwise, we repeat the picture. And by the way, by Sunday, this candle could close below the white line, in which case we're going to say it was slightly overextended beyond 240. It should have closed below 230, but it's still just a dead cat bounce, right? We have the potential to end up saying that on Sunday, not that we are going to say it, right? Because we are above it at the moment and we are kind of battling with 253. And I have the feeling that with Bitcoin as well, general markets moving up, this could drag a little bit higher. Let's see what's next. Well, we have with the longs and shorts a breakout in here. I was anticipating in a way because I placed this extension of 1 saying that we could get precisely where we are at 74.4. That's where we are seeing the longs versus shorts. You can see we overcome all that resistance of 66. So that means that longs are really taking this seriously. And I think we are getting into an area where Solana is just just too overcrowded. There's just too much optimism, and that optimism, you can see it in here with the overheating funding bubble map. This is futures, and the biggest bubbles in red of overheating that we have in history are happening here, even relative to the ones that we had in red in February 2025 and in 2024. You don't put a local top or a market full top just because you have a bubble, right? So a bubble can extend more, but it's always good to know that you are at the moment witnessing a little bit of a bubble, and most of the coins are kind of in that situation in the altcoin market, but Solana is, I will say, in a slightly larger risk just from the point of view of liquidation pools, because we took the red, which was at 222, we ended the yellow at 235, and now we are dealing just with green, and that green ends at 264. If we want to really stretch it a lot, we could get to 282 to 296. At that point, we already reached this peak, right? So we are getting very close to the previous top, in which case we could enter price exploration. But from the point of view of liquidity, there is a vacuum in between 263 and 300. And many coins are going to have to survive the same situation, taking the liquidity that is a low hanging fruit. It's very easy to get to this one from this area, but then stretching the hand all the way into 309 with a declining liquidity, that's kind of the challenge. It's a challenge. It's not a massive no, impossible, but we're going to need a hand from Bitcoin to do something really cool, like a new all-time high or something, for Solana to also follow through with that. And we are in the middle of a altcoin season, and I think the altcoin season is extending pretty nicely at the moment. Let's see how long we are now in altcoin season. We started on the 11th of September. It's been a week of altcoin season. So far in this cycle, we have had from 15th of January to end of January. So that's 2 weeks. And I think this was 10 days. So 7 days is still too early for the current trend of at least achieving 10 to 15 days. Previous cycles, we were talking about months. So hopefully we get that at least once this cycle. If we get that, yeah, we can get there. But if it ends up, let's say we are 7 days, so let's say 7 more days. And 7 more days, we pretty much need another exponential impulsive move to take that remaining liquidity. And if the altcoin season ends, well, that will be the end of this rally. So we need the altcoin season to remain positive, and Bitcoin as well. Right. So let's go. We already cover liquidity. We covered that. Short-term liquidity on Solana, we got the 200. It's a little bit too far, and 150. Shorter term one, the 30-day, we got a 229, and the highest at the moment is 210. And we got very little to consume on the upper end. That's just normal because price has been just going up, and in the last 30-day there's no price action, so we cannot find any liquidity tracked there. Let me cover a few more things that I find interesting. Solana versus Ethereum in terms of rotation, right? Because Ethereum did a massive thing going from the low thousands into almost 5,000 that pushed the Ethereum dominance pretty high, but now it's kind of consolidating. And here we have Solana versus Ethereum to see if Solana is getting ready for an actual flip. We have upside on Solana, but are we ready now to see Solana breaking out and leaving Ethereum behind? In which case, we could see a more sustained move up of Solana. Well, in the past, in the past 2021 into 2023, we have this period where Solana was bleeding against Ethereum. Now we are in a period that we could say we are bleeding. Don't look just the past 2 weeks or something too short. Look at the big picture. This is a weekly chart. So it's bleeding, and it could find resistance at 54, and that's slightly higher in the price. Remember that this is priced against Ethereum, so that's 0.06, and that will be resistance. My preference is that this is gonna come back down a little bit more, and then from a little bit lower we could break out, but that's just preference, not necessarily a forecast or anything. Right, let's go with the next coin. If you have any questions, remember I'm gonna be reading your comments every now and then to make sure that I don't miss any specific questions about the coins. HBAR, hi Sam. Let's see how it's doing. I haven't looked into HBAR. I usually look into HBAR every time I look into XRP and XLM. I guess that's kind of natural, but recently I haven't done that. So we have a push into 89, we have a double top and double bottom, and now we are kind of reverting the trend. Let's see if we can do some Fibonacci extensions, trend extension from this bottom to the high to the double bottom, and that's giving me roughly 0.48. So in theory, repeating this performance will give you 48, 1618.70. And the RSI has broken out. That happened in July and is looking for a pivot because I left it like this, right? So if you look at this, it looks like a breakdown, like kind of it's underperforming and things are not going great. But this here is a low quality pivot. I will say we can ignore it and I will trust more this one here. And that's giving us roughly the speed of this, and it's also telling us that if now we break 54, like let's say this week 54.24, then the next support is 43. So let's put another one around here and let's see where is support of HBAR. 43.36, 54.24. Okay, so now we have accurate numbers. So we are testing that support of 23, and if we lose that support, we can go into 17 cents. Of course, the numbers are a bit exaggerated because this is an analysis on weekly time frame. So if this ended up being a dead cat bounce, well, it can go definitely around that area. It coincides also with this support, so we can track that support too. And okay, so we achieved the target. I did some analysis. I can see here I didn't take this trade, but I left the target from the double bottom and we just hit that. So this is a healthy retest at the moment. It's just retracing all the progress of the breakout, but I will assume that if we hold this 21, we should have a follow through. Now, for targets, apart from the 1 and the 1618, which I already cover, of course, assuming that we defend these levels of 54, should be another leg up in here. Let me see how this behaves. So we have done twice pretty substantial moves, and we have had 1, 2, 3 waves, and we have already reached 89. So that makes this move in here, tough to get there. But if we get a sustained altcoin season and in November we are still bullish, we might be able to do such a thing. There is this kind of trend in here. No, it doesn't meet with the point. So it's like this. And yeah, it's giving us a target that is unrealistic because it's 101. You cannot get that number or on RSI. So I'm just going to pick 82 because it's the most recent percentile, and I would like to see here a profit. I would like to take profits before the high just because we have had a trajectory of just putting higher highs every time, and eventually I will take a more conservative approach, and that still can give you very high targets. So 82, let's see how high can we get with that. And remember, with the next coins we're going to be a lot more faster. This one are getting more love just because you guys voted for them. So the target is 60 cents. So it's kind of in between the golden pocket and the extension of one. Longs versus shorts are kind of in the middle, not very overextended. They were on Monday, July, end of July, but it's been taking a big retracement. It's kind of resetting in the medium. Nothing dramatic like going to the bottom end. Socials are very quiet. And let's see if I can find HBAR. Oh, great. We can have it maybe with the daily time frame. I think they just released this. We didn't have that. Oh my God. There is a decent risk in here that we need to look at this, guys. Right. So the largest liquidation probably is at 40 cents. We cannot see it because they expire those numbers after. And this is a bull flag breaking out. It's got some decent liquidity here at 31 cents, and the 20 cents is our risk. That's the risk of failure because we are already in a breakout, right? So the breakout is like this. If this fails, it pukes and it comes back to there at the very least because that's pretty attractive. The cap and handle can get into 28 to 30 cents, and the actual extension can get you probably closer to the top liquidity. Not straight there in just one wave, but it could take you there under the right conditions, just trying to measure, the potential. Let's save this for the future. Yeah, looking good. Let's see the RSI on the daily. Yeah, the RSI has the breakout. It's already ongoing, and it started from 8th of September. So we are well ahead. And the healthiness, there's not much to say, but this could be the pivot. Maybe we retrace a little bit more. We need to find where to place that line to defend the rally. Right. Let's go with BNB, which I actually sold. I sold quite a lot of BNB, and it has continued to rally, but it was really great to hold it all the bear market and to sell it at these numbers that I wasn't even expecting we were going to get again to here. Remember, all the bear market, BNB was under a huge amount of FUD. Pretty much every time you hear about BNB, people were saying that it's going to happen the same thing as FTX. And it kind of got into me, but I didn't sell it. I just held it, but I was really pissed that I might get two hits with FTX and Binance. We might still get a hit with Binance. Who knows? These large exchanges can anytime fall by someone discovering that they're doing something dodgy. They always do. It's just a matter of when. But BNB is performing really great. We got all-time highs in the past few days. So let's have a look at what's the context. Well, we have a breakout in here. We are at 74. And since bear market, what have we done? We have reached 89, far still from 97. Wow, that's impressive. That's a very large amount of RSI, particularly that we are talking about the weekly. And notice this as well, that the revenge rally went, it sliced like nothing. So it's at the moment very, very strong BNB. I ignore what are the current fundamentals. Previously it was just fat, but we are performing really great. So we're gonna have to identify some sort of support in here, and I'm gonna go with this one. Unfortunately, that means that testing support is extremely far away, so we could put a compromise in here, something like this. We can say that the yellow one is global support, and this is just the most bullish support. Still, it's very far away because it's been going very parabolic, as you can see. So this is more or less at 61. Let's adapt support 61. Let's remove the other ones. So support at the moment of the rally is at 887, but the volume weighted moving average, you can see how far away is from the price, is around $250 away from the price, and that's with the volume. So some correction here will be kind of natural, and that's why the RSI is leaving us the support so much away from it. Now breaking that, then we can talk about 48, and I didn't put 48, right? No, I didn't. So 48 is obviously way lower. It's currently tracking the volume weighted moving average at 725, below the previous high, which was already an all-time high. I think I was selling around there, if I remember right. And then there was a big correction, and I was with a smile, but then you get the usual, you get another leg up. But guys, learn about that. In the bull market, pick an exit and be proud of your exit. Defend your exit. It was an all-time high, okay? And then you rotate your cash to do something else. You don't have to be precisely finding the final top. If you aim for that, even if you succeed with one out of all your holdings, the rest are gonna get damaged massively, and your portfolio is gonna look like crap. So don't try to impress people by finding the full top, but find exits that makes you proud, right? So if I was holding BNB from these prices and I sold it in here, I made 160%. Okay, so be it. And I miss whatever up 30%. I don't care. Let's look at longs versus shorts. These channels are appearing on loads of coins, and Solana, Ethereum are playing out really nicely. So if we get to top of these bands, obviously in a parallel channel, we need to ring the red alert. We could say that we are already in yellow. Okay, why? Because we pierce the percentile. We haven't been here in all listing, no, not from listing, from bear market. From 2021 into now, we never had so many longs on BNB, and we are putting a higher high relative to this. So if this guy gets into 80 and you're considering entering on BNB, what's wrong with you, right? Do you really want them to take profits on you? No. Okay, so let's wait for something slightly better. Now we are in a rally, so I'm not telling you wait until here, because if we are in an altcoin season, also telling you to wait that long is gonna come back to me. Someone's gonna come back to me and say, "Hey, you told me to wait until the white line. We never got that until the bear market." Sure, but not so close to the top. At least find the median and try to be below the median to get some hedge. And liquidation levels going too slow, and people are gonna kill me that I don't review all their coins, or I'm gonna die before I finish doing TA. Whoa, so BNB has a huge liquidation level at 1000, ending at 1033. So that opened when they started shorting 947, thinking that 1000 is impossible to do, and you can see that we got there. And obviously this liquidity in here that I use as exit, I think I use it as exit, or maybe this 793, I don't remember, I have to look into it, but I remember seeing that we were taking a huge amount of liquidity and exiting, and then seeing some downside and feeling proud, but then it carry on. Where is the risk? Where is the risk for BNB? So if this wanted to go for some liquidity of longs and take them down, the first place to think about is 771, followed by 683, and I will reserve maybe the last level in here just for bear market. Well, that depends if it corrects before, because Binance is falling, or they found that they have no reserves. They have proof of reserves and everything. They are huge. But let's say something goes wrong. I still remember when FTX, Sam, and Cici were tweeting on a Sunday, and I found them threatening each other, saying, "I'm gonna dump your BNB. I'm gonna dump your, what is it? What's it called? The coin of FTX? I don't remember, but I used to hold that crap. But imagine on a Sunday a fight on Twitter, and when I was listening to that, I say there is no way I'm gonna leave any coins in these exchanges, and I took all my USDT and I left a small amount of Bitcoin that I promised myself never to liquidate. And because I promised myself that, and the whitelist didn't have any Bitcoin address, I ended up losing that Bitcoin thanks to FTX. It's not a full Bitcoin. I think it was 0 point something, but still, now it's a lot more cash. Let's go with the next one, and let's speed up. Virtuals, it's like this. Right, so it's been just puking like this. So if we place this like that and we say these were all fake outs, we are currently experiencing a potential intra-candle weekly breakout, and then the price needs to be placed like that. Looking very interesting, right? So this is a squeeze. It held the $1. It held the golden pocket a little bit beyond that, but it's fine. And longs are coming in. Socials are still quiet. And should we do some targets? I think I already have some degen ones. The extension of one will be 5.5, 8.8 on the golden pocket. That is a move of 362 versus 620. Very impressive. And let's see here. Right, so there's been also some bearishness in here. So it didn't hold the squeeze. It came back down. That was a breakdown in here. And now after the breakdown, we are breaking out. Well, not a bad thing. I like when, there's a trick that has been already applied affecting the people, because these people were probably thinking we're going to hold support. They enter along, and then they experience a drawdown of 37%, and now they're about to get into break even in the context of a breakout. So I like this. Next level of resistance is $2, followed by $4. That's just a very high level overview. And we can also look into virtuals liquidity. And on the upper end, we have 165. And let me see if I got the right one. Yeah. And $2 as well. So $2 and 163.62. That's for the liquidity. Let's go with the next, which is, well, BNB I already covered. Let's go with pump. Remember, you can keep voting and things are gonna be moving around. I'll keep an eye that I don't miss anything. Let's go with pump. Gosh, how can I do TA of this? It's just literally listed and up. 700%. Let's drop one time frame. Yeah, it kind of produced like a double bottom. Well, actually, the correct one is this one, in my opinion, at 39. But then you have a V recovery and then a breakout from there. And so far, it has managed to get to 9. So from 3 to 9, that's a decent performance. And let's see, the RSI is just too crazy to, oh, something meaningful. Okay, so support is 53, and I cannot see it. Where is it? Oh, is it because the price is too small? Yeah, sometimes it happens. Let me change the symbol like this. Yeah, I discovered that that's the case. When you got these calculations, the levels of significant digits, okay, some developer crap that it doesn't work in the indicator. So at around 60 is the support, okay? Slightly below that high there, a little bit more towards that area is where we have the support. You can also track it with the volume weighted moving average applied to the daily. That is where we could come back for a retest. And it's not that I'm saying we are going there, it's just that level is probably going to attract the price. There should be some liquidation levels around 60. And if we go there, that could be an opportunity to add or to enter if you haven't been part of this. Although, I don't trade this sort of coins. I just kindly offer you what I think about just the chart. It doesn't have 3 months. Let's see with the monthly. So yeah, at 60, there is a chunk of liquidity, not as big as 74. And definitely the winner goes to 46, I will say. 46 is the largest at the moment. Then let's go with EIGEN. Any questions, guys, in the chat? Don't forget, let's pump this back into the weekly. Yeah, there's been tons of people asking me in the videos to review this coin, and it's been experiencing resistance at 145, 15, and all these longs that came in just 3 weeks have managed to put the breakout. I already had a target, but that was for probably of the previous double bottom, but it turned into a triangle. Thanks to these higher lows, and eventually still broke out. And I think the target is the same. Is this one placed right here? So the target is 2.35 on EIGEN. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. EIGEN, whatever. That's going to be a tough resistance because it was previous support 235. Of course, it will be amazing to break beyond that, but RSI is not telling me much, so we're going to have to go straight into liquidity and see if we can increase it to 3 months. And 148 and 135 are very heavily loaded. Socials are flat, and longs are about to be at all-time highs, and there's never been more longs, at least from 13th of January 2025. Next coin is ATH. Never seen that before. Sorry, ATH, Aethir. Can they put more weird names to coins? I cannot pronounce those things. First of all, what language is that? Right, so this had a weekly breakout that happened the last week, 8th of September. Now we are just right there. Nothing really going on this particular week. There's a candle of indecision, and it shows that 63 has been historically a level where there is a lot of volume traded. That's why it's a resistance. Bitcoin has 117, doing the same role of an ATH, the 62 is the same. So Bitcoin breaks 17, 117, and potentially you could see this rallying further. We are going to find next resistance around here. So let's put that one, is this one. You can see 88 as well as resistance, but we have a breakout in here and we have a double bottom, and that double bottom we can calculate it like this, and we can say that this could go to 0.1. Psychological level as well. I will say, be careful crossing 9 in case we do not get the one. Yeah, that's what the chart says. Nothing is guaranteed, no financial advice. I'm not going to trade these coins. It's just what I see in the charts. And ATH, liquidity pools. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's been tons of longs entering. As usual, you see longs spiking. Not that much, though. 53 only. This has been at 98 for longs in this period here, and now it's just 53. So there is some headroom possibly for longs to enter still, but you can see how much liquidity we're leaving behind. Starting with 61, 51, 45, and then 3. but that's a little bit too far away. Now, I don't know if it's a meme coin of what it is, but if it is a meme coin, a meme coin, it can go anywhere, right? It can even put a new low at 16. Even if we are now at 60 something, we can go to whatever. Even add 3 more zeros after the dot, and you can go there. You can go anywhere to the to the downside on a meme coin. It's just that people don't want to believe that because they are too excited with the greed. Ethereum, my old friend that I'm starting to miss because I don't hold any. I'm looking for opportunities, as I say in the dedicated video this week or last week. That I'm looking anywhere below 4,000 into 3.5, and I'm not counting on that. But if the opportunity reveals, I'm gonna be there, and you will know that I'm probably buying some Ethereum. If it doesn't go there and it just wants to carry on with more than a third wave in the context of a ascending wedge, so be it, But I trade probabilities. That's what I trade. I don't FOMO into things that are rallying just because they're rallying. Longs are pulling out, and there might be a rotation that I was tracking on Solana Ethereum. You can see in here how Solana is taking over Ethereum. That means that there's some flip going on. Let's look at the liquidation levels. Where is Ethereum? Here. So in this area in here, it looks like a distribution area. And a distribution area like this one can have a wick lower relative to the previous one. And from there, it can become a spring, a liquidity hand to the upside. So far in here, we have this low of 4,069. And that's why I'm bullish on a pinch of below 4,000, call it 3.9 or 3.9 to 3.5, just to be more precise. Anywhere within these fair value gaps in here, that will make me bullish. If the market is too bullish, it's just gonna pinch 4,000. That's it, because that's technically already a lower low. If it doesn't do it, then look somewhere else. Just move on. Ignore it. Ignore the Ethereum going to 6,000. Just look at some other opportunity. If you grab it at 5,000 and you're tempted to buy 5.1 because you think that it can go to 10K, just go and slap yourself. Throw cold water with ice in your face, in your back, sleep with a back cold water, whatever you need to do to stop yourself from being damped on in the bear market. Cool. Ethereum, let's move on to the next one. XRP. Let's see what XRP is doing today. So XRP is doing so far, this was an impulsive move all the way into 3, and then it managed to do 3.4, let's call it. During that second one, it started all this consolidation phase. And what I'm thinking in here is that this leg in here was way smaller than this one. So it's already kind of in a diminishing return situation. So there could be the case that this does something slightly disappointing again, right? Disappointing relative to what? We got 3 green candles relative to what it did here, which is to get into 3.7. So maybe just grab that liquidity in here, and that's it. Unless there is a huge bullish narrative that we can trust. So far, we are still in the context of having hit 71, which was a revenge rally that play out perfectly. We call it from the hidden divergence bullish, that we could get into 70. That's what we did. Some other coins, you can judge them because they have broken here, like BNB. BNB broke this and is carrying on. It doesn't care about the revenge rally narrative, but this one is being held there. It's performing well today. Longs are overcrowded. Area of value is around here at 49. We are at 56, not that far. And socials are very, very, very low. No one is giving a crap about XRP in Twitter and everywhere relative to what it has done in the past. It's just 2.1%, and it can do a 5.9. That's pretty much 3x the noise on social networks. XRP, gosh, when I finish these live streams, I typically faint. There's a breakout on the daily on XRP from this triangle. Targets for that potential disappointing, because people say, well, we are going to now continue this and we're going to go to, targets. Let me show you some targets that people talk about, golden pocket. Well, we already achieved the golden pocket. Oh, wow. So into 2021, the golden pocket was 3.3, and we managed to put a close there. For this leg in here, we haven't yet achieved the 4.7. So that's one not that difficult target, I will say. We could do that. I don't discard it. The 1.618, which is 6.7, is way less likely this cycle. But I have to say I have a little bit of bias against XRP if you've been watching my channel for a while, and a negative bias. And this leg in here, if it does something disappointing, you have a few candidates to take profits if you subscribe to the same I do, which I can be wrong. 3-3, so 3-4, sorry, 3-6, and 3-7. Those are the three bust stops, and I need to pick one before the bust blows. So that's how I trade it, right? If you pick the last one and you get unlucky, the bus explodes and you lose everything. Well, if you're trailing with stop loss, not necessarily, but most people don't even know what is a trailing stop loss. So if you don't know, you can ask me or you can search about it. There is a daily breakout, and it's looking pretty healthy. So there should be some continuation to the upside. Right. Next one, XRP Bittensor. And I think that's Tau. Oh wow. Okay. So here we have a confirmed pivot because it even tested it twice. And now we are in the context of revenge rally into 53. So coincidentally the same number as before. And that's very close to the price. So watch out with Bittensor. If it doesn't do something like BNB, then it could get a bit bloody in here. I'm gonna also track that resistance because it's meeting with that at 53 and also with the ascending one, descending and ascending, and after breaking down from that triangle. The previous time that we broke down, we did it from around this candle, the red one, and the drawdown from there was 72%. So hopefully Bittensor doesn't need to do that. I think it's an AI coin, and I remember hearing good things about it, but I'm glad that I don't remember those good things and I just look at the charts. Because if I was trading just the good things that a coin do, then I will be holding this situation. Right. So we were supposed to defend this and break out to the upside, and we didn't do it. You're goofing around where we shouldn't. We are below the highest peak of volume. So in all this trading range, the point of control is 351, the highest, tallest volume candle there. And we have three candles, and we're battling to be above that. Hopefully we can, and hopefully we don't get rejected. But the RSI has a different opinion. RSI is saying, yeah, but if you get to 53, I have double strength in there to push you back down. So that is what likelihood is saying. That's what the odds are saying. And that's why I wouldn't take a long from here. If you are already in a long, hold on tight to your stop losses. If you are in a loss from higher prices, ouch. Don't know what I will do. I guess I will try to hedge somehow when we get into resistance or something. And let's look at Tau here. Right, we just hit 312. That was a huge liquidation of the past 3 months. So that's not going to allow us to see much more. Let's look at the monthly. And we are about to hit 371, very close to the price. And then after that, it declines sharply into $400. Below, we have 310. That is kind of the highest risk at the moment. If we go to 310, that's more or less from where we started these 3 weeks. So hopefully, if we go to 310, we form some double bottom there and we try once again. But for some reason, the price action is not looking very bullish on Tau at the moment. And look at me, I'm about to complete all the coins. I thought I wasn't going to be able, and that you were going to experience some sort of fainting in a live stream. I have a little bit of headache, but I'm surviving. And I did it a few days ago. I talked about the point of interest of 45. We wanted to complete the cap and handling here, but we got rejected back below the support of 71. We are trading at 69. Cap and handle is also visible. I think I spotted in the delta long shorts, but then I also noticed in the price is also there. Ideally, we want to break out from 78 and achieve a target of at least 1 to 6 so we can complete a full double bottom. We have only got into 72 on the RSI, and I don't have any point of reference to even say if we can really go at 80, because that will be like a follow-up of 72 unless we start doing a squeeze. And that 46, 45, let's see where that support is. That is currently at 42, and liquidations we got at 60 and immediately above at 79. And let's do the 3 months to see if we can see anything around 40. There is something, but I think the largest risk at the moment is 58. So that could be potentially a decent entry because I don't see any major liquidity below this rush so much so fast that probably we left behind the larger pools and they are not appearing anyways here. Seb is saying on Tao, I will say that locally it put in a higher low, and if it breaks the descending trend that you put in white, it's likely a double bottom, and then we have to watch whether RSI can break. Yes, I actually agree on that. If we can do that double bottom, I'm not sure if you are meaning, let me see if we go into the previous coin, which was Tau. Yeah, it could form a double bottom in here. So, sorry, my chart is getting too messy. So, this is from the previous video, what we needed to do. So if we form a double bottom here, that will be... uh, so I see it more like this pattern, like a symmetrical triangle that meets also with the white line in here at 393, and that could be still within a squeeze that is still trading with the point of control in the middle. So the breakout in that case from the price could be 392, but it really needs to exit the 430 trading range into 5A5 to start doing something really decent. Not that I will wait for that to enter, but if I believe that there is incoming trading setup with a later breakout, then I will be buying areas of support. Like what areas of support? Well, I will start buying these white lines, and if it fails, the next one. If I'm really bullish on the coin, which specifically for this, to be fully honest, I'm not liking how the chart looks, which is just pure honesty. Uh, Next coin, Bittensor, Ethena. Let's go to SUI. I think SUI is very important, but it's been, as I was kind of anticipating in a way, not following through with the previous patterns of impulsive, impressive moves of RSI into the top of the range of 78 and before 77. We were supposed to go, to 81, but this very early, when we were at 59, we came back down sharp to 44, something that we never did in the previous impulsive moves, and that started hinting towards more like a grinding up with not much momentum. If we keep repeating that, we probably see something like this, like the red line in SUI, as opposed to putting a new all-time high and stuff. I think if we sustain, obviously, the what is it called, the altcoin season, then yes, because we have a breakout, but everything so far is very disappointing. Like, look at this. It went to 4-4 and then it came back down to 3-1. What is that? It's still a higher high and higher low, but in RSI terms, that is almost like nothing. It's like just building a bear flag. Longs, yeah, they have reclaimed this line. That's what I wanted, but they lost it again, and now we are below the previous high. So again, that positive things is that we are below the lower band of the Bollinger Band in a lunar crash social dominance. So we are less than 1% of people are talking about SUI at the moment, and that's usually a good thing to combine with other stuff if you're looking for a setup. SUI liquidations, Seth says, yes, a triangle could go either way, so I wouldn't trade within a triangle. Fair enough. SUI has some liquidity pools at $3, at 282, and at 264. That's on the 3-month, but let's upgrade to trading different. Remember, guys, that most of the tools I use, I get them for free, but you guys can get discounts. So I usually tell these people, yeah, I'm gonna use it, I love it, but can I get discount for my community? And they gave me discount on trading different and other tools as well that you can find always in the video description. This is an inverse head and shoulder. I don't know if you can see it on SUI. That's on the daily though, not on the weekly. But it goes more or less like this. If you allow for epileptic kind of patterns, it's got the neck roughly around $4, and I think the target, if this breaks out, it can wipe all this liquidity up until 4.7, the highest. And on the daily, we have a breakout. We were tracking this channel down, I remember, and saying, yeah, we're most likely gonna be in a channel down. And I haven't touched this chart probably from August, and it's remained there. early August, and it broke out. So it's looking healthy on the daily. There is this pattern. I'll keep the inverse head and shoulder just for reference, but the next pattern that matters in here is this falling wedge that we tested up until the last minute. It pinched $3, took that liquidity, and started completing the inverse head and shoulder. So that's significant. Is the opposite of this one. This one was expanding. This was compressing. And let me take this one. I'm gonna steal it from there and place it like this, from high to low and from the lows of June. That's giving us a target of 5.2. Let's not forget that very recently we were at 5.4. That's December 2024, a year ago, and we left liquidity there. Of course, that's the high. So conservative target is to take this one with the inverse head and shoulders. If things go well in October, November, I'm gonna repeat myself. That's a condition always. But a more aggressive one is to start hitting $6. Let's see what's going on with this. Yeah, it's kind of speeding up, right? It didn't even come to test the 2.9. It just used the 3. That was enough. And we also have higher highs on the daily, but probably a bearish divergence, right? Because it went higher here and this went lower. So the daily has already bearish divergence in the last peak. Something to note as well. Keep an eye on that. This was also bearish divergence, was it? I think so. It went lower relative to January. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag, right? Because what I was looking for is a pattern of higher highs or lower highs, but I don't get any consistently. This one was high, lower high, and then higher high. So that's the inconsistency that has got me scratching my head. But I will probably play with this liquid in here, and that's assuming I already accumulated close to support, right? Not waiting for, oh, we are above $4, let's enter in a position, because it's something like this can happen that drags you back into $3. So watch out for that sort of trap. BTC, I heavily covered it this morning. So if you have any specific question about BTC, please drop it in the comments now. Otherwise, I'm gonna just skip to ADA and AAVE, maybe just one of them. Guys, the ones that are live now, can you pick between Cardano and AAVE? Whoever replies the first, I will do that one. AAVE or Cardano. In the meantime, I'm gonna look at the chart. AAVE, right, so you won. Cool. So this broke down early January. It was pretty devastating. It went to 37. It dropped below the momentum, the lowest of this cycle, which so far was 42.39. So we did a 37.5. That is a drop of 74%. And so far we have done something very close to V recovery. It actually looks like a V. And I left this target in here. I don't know from what is coming from, whether I anticipated this with something. I wanted to take credit for the target because it got reached perfectly, but I need to watch the previous video to confirm that, so I'm not going to count victory. But this is in a context now of revenge rally. Now, it hasn't managed to get into 74. If it did, we will have already an all-time high, and reaching it from here means going to 88. So the question that's next is, do we think that that's doable? Because global resistance is at 93, 94. This trend line of the drop leaves us at 87. We do not have that much longs relative to what we usually have. I'm tempted to say that we are in the lower end, slightly below the median, so there can be more longs. And socials, early September were at the very low end. You can get up to 0.4% of all the people talking about AAVE, but we were at 0.1, so that's a 4x that it can increase. So we have fuel of socials, we have fuel of little longs, and we have already rally. My problem is that, yeah, entering in here, of course, is disgusting, right? So you are against heavy resistance, and I would like to see some pullback. I think we are already having one. So how big is this pullback? 25%. So this is just grinding like this. There is a flag that goes up like this, and it can still break up to the upside like this and complete the same handle, in which case we could get into the 439. I'm gonna track 3 targets: the PNR 75, 88, and the global resistance. 75, 88, 494. And let's go to the price. So first target, more conservative one is 528, which is within the golden pocket and one extension Fibonacci that is between 438 to 642. So that's precisely in the middle. Then we have the new all-time high kind of target of 1.1K and 2.1K if we get into global resistance. That's an RSI of over 90, right? So look at this, was 145, then 427, and then $2,000. It makes sense, but we need to get to those RSIs. So far, the highs are pushing higher, but the lows is what worries. The lows are coming too low here at 36. That was too overextended to the downside. It looks like we already have a bear market with AAVE. That's kind of my worry, and it will keep me trading it in a more conservative ways. So if I was trailing this and this starts to pump it there, I will take a more conservative approach to take profits. Like if I get to the one extension, maybe I take half already. And if I'm wrong, I don't care because I always apply the same rules, which is to use the most likely thing to take decisions and not what I wish for. Okay, that's the kind of the thinking behind. Guys, I hope you enjoy this live stream. I hope you take away some information, some learnings, some things. Remember, if you're watching this tomorrow, Friday, you're probably watching the shorter version because we edit the video so to save you from spending 20 minutes of just white noise. In that video, there is timestamps in the description if you want to join for the next TA session, which specifically next week is Pine Script session. But the one after that in October is going to again be one of these. So if you want to join that, join us as an elite member. The link is appearing now in the screen and is also in the description. And I'll see you later. Thanks for tolerating my horrible voice today, which is even worse than usual. All right, take care. Bye bye.